Good evening, my friends. Tonight we speak about a creature who flaps in the winds in the night. A creature that's vile and scary. A creature of immense power that his servants fear him while pushing him ever more into the darkness. A creature so powerful that his very house teleports from place to place across the land like a mist in the night. Creature goes quack because it's Duckula. And today we're going to talk about something really interesting that we can learn from Count Duckula himself. Hello devoted geeks, welcome to Geek Devotions, show from devoted geeks who are devoted to letting you know you're loved. I'm Dallas, I'm so glad you've hit the play button today. If you're new to our show, we take geek pop culture items like movies, video games, comics, and we used to let people know love. So if you don't watch past this moment, we love you, we care about you. There is a plan and a purpose for your life. Do not give up. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're taking a look at a 1980s British cartoon that honestly was a fever dream for me. I have explained this cartoon to people for ages, and they look at me going,
"What are you talking about? That's strange."
I legitimately had people thinking I was making this up when I was trying to explain to them this cartoon that I swear I saw when I was a child on television. Sure enough, it was a British cartoon that they used to have as an offspin of Danger Mouse, and it is wild. For those of you who don't know what it is, just a real quick recap. Basically, vampires are real, especially vampire ducks, and they can die, but they can be brought back once a century. And then this one guy named Igor, who was bringing back his master, Count Duckula, messes up because the maid hands him a bottle of ketchup instead of blood, and so poof, vegetarian duck. Count Duckula, vegetarian vampire duck. Look out, VeggieTales, he's coming for you. Igor's always trying to push Duckula to become this evil vampire that he is meant to be. But Duckula, he's just like, I want to be in showbiz. I want to make people smile and sing and laugh and stuff. And like I said, he's vegetarian, so he's just not having any of it at all. But again, there's always this push for him to be what his ancestors would be. In fact, like in the first episode, there's this whole conversation where he's like, he just says he wants to give up everything, he wants to give up the title of Count, and Igor talks him down this hall of memory, of showing him all of his ancestors, and look what this person did, look what this person did, look what this person did, and he's just like, I want to sing and dance and play music. And Igor's much unhappy about this. Throughout the series, it's kind of a thing where Igor's pushing him towards this. He shows him ancestral stuff, and he's just like, I'm not feeling it. There was one episode specifically, in episode 2, though, that I found interesting, where they traveled to Spain to see his cousin, Count Diego. And he's, again, a Spaniard vampire duck. And he is vile. He is an evil man. And he's just like, I just chopped him into little bits. And he's like, how many people did you chop into little bits? He's like, all of them. Crazy, right? Absolute Looney Tune of a dude. But when Duckula hears that this is what Diego's like, something stirs up inside him. He's like, this is not right. This isn't what we need to be doing. This has to be stopped. There's something that stands up inside him and goes, this can't continue. There's a pattern of behavior. There's things that aren't right. I'm not going to be part of it. And there's this internal struggle that takes place because honestly, this is his lineage. This is his family. This is who he's supposed to be. And this is where we get into the conversation today. There's a lot of people that they have grown up in not great environments, and they were taught habits and things that are not good. They're destructive, they're bad, they're hurting not just other people, but themselves. And it keeps getting passed from generation to generation, one generation harming the next. And it's a terrible pattern of events. And the question becomes, who's going to stop it? In this situation, Count Duckula was like, I'm done. Nope, not gonna do it. Then he fights a big bull and it gets weird. I'm not saying you have to fight a bull, but I am saying perhaps you are in a similar situation where you feel like, man, it's a bad place. There's things that have been passed down to you from generations that are destructive. But then there's this eternal struggle of like, but it's just who we are. It's just who we are as a people. But it doesn't have to be. These things don't have to be passed down. In the ancient world, there is a proverb that says, the fathers have eaten sour grapes, therefore the children's teeth shall be set on edge. And this is basically, it's this idea of generational curses. Because your fathers did it, the kids have to suffer. They're gonna have the same issues. They're gonna walk the same thing. But it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, this is something that is combated time and time within the Christian community. This idea of this thing being passed down in the book of Ezekiel and in the book of Jeremiah, this proverb is mentioned and refuted multiple times. In fact, in Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 3, we see this. As I live, says the Lord God, you shall no longer use this proverb. He goes on to say that it's up to the individual. You don't have to walk in these sinful things anymore. If you are picking part in something that's wrong, that's not your parents' fault. That's you choosing to walk that out. I'm not saying that you didn't get set up in a bad place because your parents did some terrible things. What I am saying is you have a choice to walk in the things of the past. You have the choice to walk in the curses that have come through, whether that be alcoholism, addictions of various cases, and other terrible things. And the great thing about it is this. Some people, you're walking in some terrible things because it's what you were taught. You had family members who taught you terrible things. But if you turned from those things and you begin to walk in righteousness, you begin to walk in things that are good, what's cool is your children come up can be then taught the right thing. Now, they still have to make their own decisions. They still have to choose whether or not they're going to walk in those things or not. But they have the opportunity to go, oh, this is the right way of doing things. You have set them up for a advantage. You have set them up to go on to do something great instead of setting them up to have to struggle from a place that is harder to come out of. Now, I'll be the first to admit, this is not an easy thing to overcome these things, especially when they're ingrained, especially when you're in a situation where perhaps some people look at you and they go, what, you think you're better than this? Which is, I've seen this happen. I've seen people who are trying to better themselves, trying to be what they really need to be better for their family, to be better for the next generation. And they have family members who they love and they care for, looking at them, looking down upon them, going, what, you think you're better than us now that you're doing this or that? Do not listen to those things. I know it's hard. I know it's a struggle when you have that pressure coming in from the outside, from the very people who should be championing you for doing better. But don't give up. If nothing else, know that I'm proud of you, that you've made a change. You've made a switch. Some of you, you've never seen Geek Devotions before. You have no idea who I am. You're like, who are you? That's okay. But know that if you're walking this out, I'm proud of you. I'm genuinely proud of the work you're putting into trying to be better. Try not to walk in these things in the past that have hindered and hurt your family for generations. I'm proud of you for trying to make a stand and going, look, for me and my house, for my children and my children's children, we're going to set a standard that's higher than what we have lived beforehand so that they can walk victoriously, so that the pain stops. So your children never have to know in a personal way the struggles that you walk through. Yes, you'll have to explain stuff to them. You'll have to explain to them why you're doing what you're doing. Yes, you'll have to explain to them why you have set boundaries and concerns and to protect them and to guide them, to lead them. And you're going to have to learn how to walk that out. You're not going to be perfect, but they don't have to suffer the same way you did. I'm proud of you for making that decision. This is my question of the week for you guys. And it's a little more in depth, because the reality is a lot of people, they feel like they can't come out of these things themselves. They feel like they can't do it. They feel like it's, again, there's this stupid, terrible phrase. Oh, it's just how we are. No, it's not. It doesn't have to be, at least. So I want to ask you to do me a favor. Something brave, something bold. Leave a comment down below and leave your story. And again, this is scary. I get it. This is scary. But leave your story about how you made a change in your life to break off certain generational curses, to break off certain generational habits for the betterment of the future. Your story can inspire the person who reads that to be able to do the very same thing. Now, while I still have you guys here, I want to give a very special thank you to our devoted Patreon geeks who have supported us here at Geek Devotions, who help us to keep the lights on, help us to get the equipment we have, to help us get the things that we need to do this, to encourage people, to let them know the love they care for, to help us get to places like GeekCon so we can have a booth on the con floor, to love people and to show them that there's hope, that somebody actually cares about them. And if you'd like to become a devoted Patreon geek, visit our website, geekdevotions.com, click on the support page, and learn more there. And if you can't support us financially, hey, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video, share it out with somebody, share this video with somebody who you're like, you know, they need this information, they need help. But also, here's a big deal. And then I'm gonna say this, I've said it a few times before, this information getting out and helping people is more important than us getting famous. So if you're like, man, this is great information, take it, use it, use the information. Use the devotion with your small group, with your church, with your friends. You don't have to say Geek Devotions at all. Just help people. Let them know that they can make a change. Let them know that they can be better. Today, not tomorrow, but starting today, they can be better. Finally, guys, I just want to encourage you guys to hang out with us. Be part of our community. We have a Facebook group called Devoted Geek Life. We have a Discord channel. We have Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. Just look for Geek Devotions and go to our website, geekdevotions.com, for all kinds of more exciting content. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, stay devoted. Peace and love.